Right now, amp modeling is huge and it's really hyped up. But if you're sort of new to the whole electric guitar world, it could be kind of overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to try to simplify things and try to explain what amp modeling is doing for people and sort of the mindset of how to navigate through one. So to get this started, imagine you getting to your church or your venue and setting up on stage. You got your guitar, you got your huge pedal board, you got your amp that you're lugging around, and then of course you got your mic because you got to set this up to your amp, and then you got to plug this whole thing into your snake or your mixer. But practically you're going to be spending a lot of time at your amp trying to set up your tone, and then eventually setting up your pedal board to your amp, and then guitar to your pedal board, yada yada yada. You got all this setup going on, right? When it comes to amp modelers, most amp modelers are taking care of this section for you. There are some amp modelers that will have effects built into them, and some amp modelers that are only amp modelers, so they're only going to be taking the place of your amp. So if you have an amp modeler, all you need to do is get your guitar, plug it into your amp modeler, into the input, and then the output, you're going straight into your mixer. Everything is done. It's so simple. And what's really easy is that there is no mic setup required. Now, this just saves me so much time. Even though there's a little bit of front end work that you need to do to set up your amp modeling pedal, a lot of these amp modelers have a software that you can download to your computer, and that is what we're looking at here. I am personally using the HX Stomp by Line 6, but I'm going to use this to give you guys a basic framework on how to set up a typical amp modeling kind of pedal. So if we look up here, we got the main left and right. This is your input right here, and then at the end you got your main left and right output. And this is like this chain going on here where I can put whatever I want. The first thing I want to talk about is the amp. Now you look over here on the left side and you got all these options to put. If you click it, you got all these options here. But if you go to your amp, you're going to notice it says amp, preamp, cab. Let's not worry about the preamp right now, but let's look at the amp and the cab. And if you're not really familiar with what's going on here, let's take a look here. This Marshall right here, the top is the amp head, and the bottom is the cabinet. You can think about the amp head as the device that is going to produce a certain quality of a sound, and then the cabinet is what spits out that sound. This is a pretty good illustration here too. This is the amp head, this is the cabinet. But a lot of amps that you see are combo amps where they're both combined. With that said, you have a lot of combinations here where you can choose an amp and you could choose a certain cab, because every single cab and every single amp has certain characteristics to them, and in certain combinations you can have different sounds, right? Or I could just keep my life simple, choose the one where there's the amp and the cab coming out together. Boom, that's it. Or if you want to choose a specific amp, you could choose an amp and then you can choose a cab, and boom, you can have different combinations. But I like to keep things simple and just do a combination of the amp and the cab because it honestly sounds really good to me. From here, you can pretty much build your pedal board chain. So let's say, like, okay, from the first one, I want an EQ, I like this overdrive, I like that overdrive, I like this delay, and I want this reverb. Now I have this whole setup here. I got my amp and basic necessities for my pedal board. There is a way in the HX Stomp to turn this off and on, just like how you would on a traditional pedal board, but I'm not going to go into that because I just want to give you guys a basic framework of what's going on here. Now this is one way to use an amp modeler, particularly on the HX Stomp, but what I like to do is combine my pedal board with my amp modeler. And the reason for this is because I have my favorite pedals that I like to use. So in a setup, guitar is going to the pedal board is going to the amp modeler is going into the mixer, and we're set. For me, this is amazing because I don't have to fiddle with an amp, I don't have to carry a huge amp, and I don't have to set up the mic. So when we get back here, you can take out some things because I already have a few of these pedals. Let's say I already have a compressor, I don't need that. I already have my favorite overdrives, but maybe I like to add on another delay and add on another reverb. But the coolest thing about the HX Stomp in particular that blows my mind is that I can do 2 amps in stereo. So I'm going to make room for another amp here. So now on the signal chain, one line is going to go through this amp and the other line is going to go through that amp. and it's gonna go out separate left and right. Because of this, I don't have to lug around 2 amps, 2 microphones, set up the tone on each amp, and then plug that into a snake and hope that everything's gonna be fine. It's all being done here, and that is so amazing to me. So when you guys are shopping around for different kind of amp modelers, in terms of sound quality, you probably don't have to worry about that. If you guys didn't know, amp modelers have been out for a really long time, but it wasn't until lately that they've been in the spotlight, because back then, the amp modelers, they really sucked. They didn't sound good, but now they sound amazing. So when you guys are shopping around for other amp modelers, you guys don't have to worry about the sound. Rather, look into the functionality of the amp modelers. Some of them have like that little pedal included in it. Some of them don't. Some of them are huge, so you can have different options and different little buttons. Some of them are smaller. Think about your situation and what fits best. For me, I like pedals, but at the same time, I don't want to lug around an amp. So I have an HX Stomp. So the HX Stomp, it's small, so I can put it on my pedal board and use my other pedals and be done with it. I don't have to lug around 2 amps, 2 mics, set it up, yada, yada, yada. With that said, I 100% recommend Line 6's products. No, I am not paid to say that, but I genuinely think they are amazing. And they have a wide range of products to fit most people's needs. So that is it, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions, please leave it in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.